Hello, everybody. How have we been? It's been such a long time, like I would usually say, long time no tutorials. Welcome back to our channel. It's so good to have you here. It's been a while we had tutorials here, although we resumed tutorials with paper illustrations on our Facebook community. By the way, if you are yet to be on our Facebook community, please join us. Search for Gold Imperial Academy. Okay, so I would like to say a happy new year to you, our YouTube followers. Thank you so much for being there. We are resuming tutorials now, so if you haven't subscribed to our channel all this while, please do so. Okay, we'll be glad to have you. Always share, watch, like our tutorials. My name is Priska Osegali and I am the lead instructor at Gold Imperial Academy, where we teach interested individuals pattern drafting and garment construction. Today we'll be teaching us how to create this drape on this beautiful dress. Okay, so grab your basic bodice patterns and let's do this. So for this project, we would need our tape rule, our tracing wheel, pencil, cleaner, scissors. We'll also need our ruler. Okay, so we'll begin with our basic bodice pattern. First of all, we need to draft our basic bodice pattern. Okay, if you're unable to draft your basic bodice pattern, you can take part in any of our basic bodice online courses. Okay, so you draft your basic bodice pattern. I'm using the pattern that has the underarm dart. You can use any pattern that you're familiar with. So straight ahead, I'm going to convert this into a dress pattern because I want to see where exactly I'm going to be draping on my dress. So you need to convert it to a dress pattern before you mark out where you want your drapes to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do just that. Okay, so here we are. I have converted this to a straight dress pattern. Okay, so this is how it is. All right, I'm going to shape it later on, but for now, this is a straight dress pattern. So now I'm going to trace this out on a different paper, but first of all, before I do that, I'm going to shape it the way I want my dress to be, because the bottom of the dress is a straight shaped. So I'm going to also do that on my pattern. So let's quickly shape the pattern. Okay, so right now I'm going ahead to shape my dress pattern, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. Alright, so here we have it. We have a straight shaped dress pattern right now. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and trace this out on a different paper because I want to see exactly where I am going to be draping on this dress. Now, this is just a half of the front pattern. That is a quarter of my total pattern, the front and the back. Okay, so this is half of the front. Now I need a full front pattern for the draping, so I'm going to either trace this out on a single paper or I place my pattern on fold and then trace out. This is what I mean. So this is my paper right here. I can either trace out on a single sheet like this, or I place on fold and then trace out because I need a full pattern for the front. Okay, so if you're tracing out on a single paper, that means you have to trace out another again to be able to stick them together and then have your full front pattern. For me, I'm going to be placing my paper on fold and then I'm going to trace out. I'm using a small scale pattern. Yours will be bigger than this, okay, because yours should be full scale. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and fold this paper in two so that it can be unfold, and then place my pattern and trace out. So I'm using a tracing wheel to do that. So just place your pattern on this. I'm tracing out the neckline, and then I'm also going to be tracing out all the other parts of the pattern. Here my pattern is traced out onto the new paper. Okay, I'm going to be penciling everything out now. Okay, so here we are. I have my full pattern for the front. Remember I said we need the full pattern. I'm going to go ahead and mark out where exactly I want my drapes to start from. Okay, for the one on the dress, you can see that it started from the waistline. So you can make yours to be on the waistline, you can make it to be above the waistline, you can end it on the hip line, below the hip line, or anywhere of your choice. For me, I'm going to be starting on the waistline because that is where it started from on the dress. If you wanted to start from somewhere else, you can also do that. You can go up, okay, above your waistline, or you can end it below your hip line, like I said, anywhere on the pattern. So if you look at the design on the dress, the drapes, it went from left to the right. You can decide to make yours right to the left. This is you designing now, so you get to choose where you want your drapes to start, end, and also where you want it to face. Right, so we have agreed that we are starting from left to the right according to the design on the dress. So this is where we are starting from on the waistline. You decide where you want to end on the left part. Okay, so assuming that I want to end like remember this is a smaller pattern, okay, but the same concept applies. So let's say I want to end like 2 inches above my hip level, okay, and probably like on my hip level, or like 1 inch below my hip level. So I'm going to now mark that out. This is my waistline, and this will be the end, that is the slant of my drape. So it goes this way. So this is where I'm going to be using, okay, this is where I'm going to be tracing out again, okay, like so. So you can see, okay, so if you want it to be above, all you just do is place your ruler like this and rule. Okay, if you want it to come up a bit more on this left side, just place it, okay, and then we connect that. So this is the one we are going with, okay. So I'm going to go ahead now and trace this out on another paper again. So I'll place on another paper now and then trace out just like when we traced out the other time. So I'll trace, and then you also trace out the sides as well, okay. Okay, so now I'm going to remove this and then pencil out the place that I have traced, okay. So next we cut. Alright, so here we are. So the next thing we want to do is to draw out our slash lines. Remember, we want to have fullness in order to drape that on our dress, okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw out my slash lines, okay. So you can see that this side is smaller and this is wider, okay. So that means on this side we'll have smaller spaces in between our slash lines, and we have a wider space in between our slash lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark the points and then draw out the slashes. You can also use a particular measurement. You can measure what you have here, okay, then divide by the number of slashes you want. Do same for this side so that you can divide them evenly and then mark them before connecting. Here we are. So as usual, you have to mark out your points. So this is my hip line, this is my waistline. Then I also like to label my slashes so that when I slash and it detaches, I'm able to return it back to where it detached from. You can also see that our pattern has darts on the portion where we traced out from. So we also have to mark that on our pattern as well. You can't just throw the darts away. You can either push out your darts on the sides, okay, or you close the darts on your pattern. So here we are. If you're going to close the darts, this is what you do. You trace it out, okay, on your pattern, okay, then redraw it to where your line is passing through. So this is what I mean. If I trace this out, I'll just redraw it to where my line is passing through so that I can close easily. Okay, I also have to trace this as well, so I'll just redraw. Okay, since I'm working with a smaller pattern and the darts are small, I would measure what I have as my dart, and then I'll take it out on my sides, okay, on the side seam. So that is what I'm going to do. So now I'll reshape this into my side seam. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this out since I have reshaped it. Okay, cut this out. Make sure there are no pointy edges. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and slash, okay? So this is where I want my fullness on the wider part. Always add your fullness to the wider part so you can pleat it back, okay, or drape it, okay? So now I'm going ahead and I'm slashing. Don't slash through, just slash to the tip of your other side seam, okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up. So here we are. Okay, you can see some are not opening up well because we did not really slash it to the tip. So if that happens, just slash, but be careful. Be careful. Okay. Okay. All right, so now it's opening up properly. Okay, so this is where this labeling we did here comes in handy. So if anyone detaches, you can just easily put it back to where it detached from. So you can see it's already forming. So now the next thing to do will be to place it on another paper, and then we would secure this on another paper, blend this side, okay, we'll blend the side seam. So we're going to through that side seam. So this gives us a pattern to cut our fabric on, okay? So easy as ABC, right? So let's go ahead and place this on another paper. You can decide on any width for your drapes, okay? So you can do 2 inches, 2.5, 1.5, depending on the material that you have, all right? So since I'm using a small scale pattern, I wouldn't do so much. I'll just do like 1.5. So place your pattern like so, and then you measure, okay? So I can do 1.5, or let me do 1 inch. Since I'm using a small scale pattern, I'll do 1 inch. So here we go. Just stick it down using a paper tape. So I'll just measure and then secure, measure, secure. Make sure that your pattern is flat as you are securing. So we can see it is all secured. So here we have it. So now to through our seam, all you have to do is fold it just the way you would fold on your fabric, and then use your tracing wheel, okay, to through that, to just fold it, return it back to where you separated it from, okay. Sometimes you might have to lose a part of the one you are returning back, but it's fine, okay. So just follow your tracing wheel marks, all right. So this is it. So this is how you're going to cut it on your fabric, okay. So you can see, I don't know if you can see it from that distance, but here, I don't know if it's visible. Can you see the mark of the tracing wheel, okay. So it gives you that diamond shape, okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and return this, okay. Remember I said sometimes you may lose a bit because what we are doing is we are throwing the seam. So now we are going to now cut out, okay. Let's cut it out. So you can add your seam allowance now, and when you're cutting on your fabric, you add the seam allowance to this side. But for me, I like to add my seam allowance on my pattern, so that I just place my pattern on my fabric and cut in case I forgot about the adding of the seam allowance. So you can add all around your paper, or you can add on your fabric. The choice is yours. Okay, so now I'm cutting. So when I'm cutting something like this, I place my paper like so, okay. Just fold it the same way I did when I was using the tracing wheel, and then cut, so that way it's easier for me, okay. I'm not bothered about whether I'm following the tracing wheel mark. I know that I will follow it, okay, because I've just folded it the same way. All right, so here is our pattern. So this is what you place on your fabric. Don't forget to add your seam allowance, so you write your cutting instructions. So here you have your 1 inch. This is your side front, and this is also your side front. You also add your 1 inch allowance, or whatever allowance you're using for your dress, so that it can rhyme. And then I already have 0.5 here, which I have added, 0.5 here as well, which I've added as well. So here is our pattern. So this is what we'll be placing on the fabric to cut. So when you cut out, you fold just the same way it is on the paper, and then voila, you have your drapes on your dress. So you just place it on your dress, stitch everything together, and you have your beautifully done drapes on your dress. I hope you found this useful. Thank you so very much for being with us on today's tutorial. If you are yet to subscribe, please don't forget to subscribe. We'll also like to announce our pricing class, which comes up on the 15th of this month, that is the 15th of March 2022. It's on a Tuesday, okay. So instead of our usual fashion tips, that is the Sew Tips Tuesday, we'll be having this as part of our activities on Sew Tips Tuesday. It's free. It's going to be happening on Telegram, but you have to register. So to register, send a message to us, okay. You can use the link bit.ly/pricing class. The P in the pricing is capital P. Okay, so that's bit.ly/pricing class. We look forward to seeing you, and if you're yet to subscribe, please do so. If you're not yet on our Facebook community, please join us. Search for Gold Imperial Academy, and also like our Facebook page, J Gold Imperial. We look forward to seeing you again when next we bring our tutorials on. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you will always be the first to be notified when we put up new videos. And if you replicate this, please don't forget to tag us at jgoldimperial, either on Facebook or on Instagram. We hope to see you some other time. My name is Priska Oserale. Take care of yourself. God bless you. Bye.